Okay, so here we are back at it once again, and we're in section 20, and we're going to we're going to finish covering some of the loose ends that the color page has left us, which will include, let me just bring this up and show it to you, which will include basically just controlling the video. We're going to combat some shaky footage, show you how to use tracking windows and the different kinds of tracking that goes with that. The blur tab and the sizing tab. No big deal. This should go very quickly. It was a very short section. So let's bring up Resolve. And this is our tracking tab right here. Okay, remember we're going to work with both these, our power windows and our tracking tab. So we'll start here in the tracking tab. And we got our little tykes over here. And let's get rid of our gallery and get some room moved to work with these guys. Okay, so down here, um, to talk about tracking real quick here, uh, there is some ratios. And what these ratios are talking about is the cropping ratio especially is important because in order for cropping to work, you have to kind of in order for stabilization to work, you have to crop in a little bit. If you're going to hold the camera still, then the image will have to move a little bit. Okay, so if the camera is going to be still and the image moves, it gives the idea of stabilization. So let's just play this one real quick without anything done to it. So here we go. And it's pretty messy, especially in the beginning there. All right, so let's go back and just say here that our cropping rate, everything is maxed out right now. I can't go any further than 0.25 for smoothness or for the 1.0 for strength. There's three levels of cropping, perspective being the strongest, similarity being somewhere in the middle, and then transform. They're just different ways of basically doing the same thing. And then there's one last setting called camera lock that gives this the idea that it's on a tripod. The camera's on a tripod. So this is really easily done. And whether stabilization is the same for this as it is for second-party software, like and Sony has some really good stabilization with their second-party software. And I'm a big Sony fan, so all of my cameras have two levels of stabilization, and it all works on the same thing that you got to crop in. You got to zoom in a little bit to give the image somewhere to move to, so it gives the illusion of being stable. So let's click on stabilization, and that came through and analyzed this little clip here, and then tells us what these things are: pan, tilt, zoom, and so on. I think maybe you can hold it over. Oh, maybe not. But at any rate, so let's go look at that now after we've just applied well, we didn't apply it. Let's come down here to 25, remark it. Now let's have a look at it. Much better. So even when we come back here and we put camera lock on now, and we come back to the beginning of this, and you look at this door frame back here, it's really solid now. Right there. I mean, it's barely moving. So that's stabilized, kids. And let's come up to color and down to reset and reset all nodes and grades and start to work with this young lady here. And we're going to stop stabilizing and we're going to start tracking. So down here, you can saw that the stabilization was in the shaky camera. And we're going to come over here and we're going to click on window. Then we're going to come over here and click on a power window. Let's put a circle up here. And maybe we'll make this fit her face a little better. Maybe bring it out just a touch. Bring it down. Bring the feathering out a little bit. Okay, so that fits pretty nicely. And just to make sure that we can see that this is really tracking, let's put the grain up on her. We'll lift that up. You can see it down here and that. And then let's go over here and start a second node. Add node. And let's add an outside node here. And in that outside node, we're going to bring our lift down a little bit so that we get a really good version of her face being highlighted. Okay, so let's go back over here to the tracking now. Okay, so we want to track the entire clip here. Let's make sure our mask is up here. Back over here. I don't know why I did that. Excuse me. Let me undo this. Damn. Back to this guy. That'll work. So let's come back over here to tracking. We're going to track the entire train. We're going to use the cloud tracker, which means as opposed to the point tracker, and I'll explain that in just a second. Actually, I can explain it right now. A point tracker will, you come down here with your little arrow that says point tracker, and you pick one point in the picture, and with your, like on her pupil of her eye or something like that, and this circle will track along with that. So, but in the meantime, let's do this and play. Now you see the little X's up there? And it's figuring things out that our window has now matched her darn near perfectly. Let's do that again. Here she comes. And that's all there is to tracking, pretty much. We can change this over to a point tracker. Let's go back to color, reset everything. And we're still on tracker. Let's go back to the beginning of our clip here. And window. And let's just add a window over here off to the side a little bit, just so that we can compare the two. I'm going to bring it down so you can kind of see it here. And then go back to the tracker. Come down here and say point track, set point. I'm going to set the right on the end of her nose here. Dink. Did I get it? Point tracker, sorry. There's our point tracker. Okay, so let's play it once. It's not tracking. Let's try that again. Okay, set our point here. Point track, point tracker. Hope it's figuring it out. Not working for me. I'm going to pause this and figure it out. Okay, that was pretty easily fixed, actually. I was just hitting the wrong play button. I was hitting the play button up there when I should have been hitting it here under the tracker window. So I got her little cross there. I hit the play button here. Let's bring it back to the front. I hit the play button here. It sorts the track out after I'd used this down here to place it on her nose. It goes along and it matches the window with the point on the tip of her nose that we have tracked. So I'm going to mark that as a success here. All right, so let's go back up to color, down to reset, over to start from scratch. Okay, so the next down the line here is, uh, not yet. Yes, here we go. This is the blurring, and we have three ways of doing that. As you come up on the radius here, it blurs out with the pixels itself. That's a blur. Below the midline, that's a sharpen. Okay? Same thing here with the horizontal and vertical ratio of blurring. Up is the blur, down is the sharpen, and you'll need something to adjust. So if we put a little bit of radius on that, we can see how different sizes. Up is a horizontal, down is a vertical, excuse me. Okay. And we got our reset here for all of them. Okay, and then the last is the scaling. The scaling is how big you want the blur to be. Now, you see down here, what have we done? We got to unlink our chains, I think. Hmm. Okay, pause again, and I'll be right back. I have we just updated here our new version of Davinci, and so this is one of the things that's been upgraded, and so the instructions really don't tell me how to use this yet. So bear with me a second. Let me go figure it out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so thanks for your patience here. So a couple of different effects that we can now do from the blur page. Obviously, we come over here and we'll leave that here. Hopefully it'll tell us who it is. Come on. All right, well, blur, sharpen, mist. Okay, so when we put our sharpening on here, let's put a little blur on. And we can unchain these and blur individual colors. I don't think we need to go into that. And with our scaling, we can decide how big that blur is. We can also blur that with the window, I believe. And then with the last one called a mist, too, that we can change our ways of doing things here. And with the scaling, we can charge. Basically, what it is, it's hard to see in this picture, but the lines, bring that down where the lines get sharper and blurrier, supposedly. I don't see it working so well here, but this may be one of those things that requires some practice for me to do. And yeah, that'll be the name of that tune. And so the last one is, oh gosh, I wish I could do that a little better, but that was going to require much more than just a little bit. So the last one over here, let me go back to color, reset everything once again, boom. And our last guy over here is the sizing of things. Now, there's a couple of interesting things here. If we bring over our clips about sizing. Sizing is basically the transition tab. And the transition tab here, as you know, as we look at this here, we can pan things right to left, tilt things as we see fit, zoom in, zoom out. Okay, we've seen all this before in the inspector of how to do this. It's certainly easy to do that from here, but it's important to remember that you have to have a node attached to whatever clip that you're working on, and that whatever you change starts here. Okay, if you don't have a node that's highlighted and you start changing things, you will change things to the entire timeline. Okay, but if you do have a node attached to whatever clip you're working with, then whatever changes that you make will be made to that um, single clip. Okay, looks like we got some other things that we can do here, just like in the transition mode. We have the sizing itself, we have cropping, Uh, with output sizing, what else do we have here? Node sizing, that's kind of cool, but I don't know that that's so much a part of that is this is sizing, input sizing, and output sizing. That's another interesting thing. So input sizing is before it hits the node. Output sizing is after it has gone through. So right now, as you see this on output sizing or input sizing, this is the node. This is its final destination over here. It's a little confusing, yes, but as we come back here in a couple of weeks to do the immersive color grading stuff, all this will become much more apparent and clear, and that we will have nothing to do but concentrating on just color correcting and color grading. Okay, so that is section 20 for now. I'm going to go look at 21 and get it ready for you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.